What's up, everybody? I'm Kelsey, and today I'm going to rank the expansion, stuff, and game packs, all from The Sims 4, using a lovely Abby Lee pyramid. So I will be ranking all of these packs from least favorite to favorite, and since there are 15 expansion packs and 12 game packs, I'm going to only be ranking my top 6. So you're gonna have to let me know what you think the order should be for the rest of them. The criteria in which I'm using to rank these is quality of gameplay, quality of CAS, build and buy items, and how often I use it in my regular gameplay. Almost every expansion game pack was recently on sale. Unfortunately, the sale has ended, but do not worry. Keep your eye out because the Sims 4 expansions and game packs go on sale pretty frequently. I thought this could be a fun game, and I want you guys to let me know, how does my ranking match up to your ranking? What would you rank your top 6, and which ones are you dying to try next? If you are planning on purchasing a new Sims expansion or game pack, I actually have a code that you can use when you purchase. There will be more information in the description about this, but I do get a small percentage of sales. It's a new thing that the Sims are doing. If you're happening to purchase something anyway and you want to do me a solid and support me, this is one way in which to do so. Thank you, Sims and EA Game Changers, for sponsoring, I guess, that portion of this video. This video isn't sponsored, but it is brought to you by EA. So thank you, EA, for giving me that code. Also, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It is my dream to hit 900,000 subscribers sometime soon, and hopefully 1 million subscribers maybe by the end of the year. So it would really mean the world to me if I hit 1 million subscribers. It's a goal I've been working on for years now. So help us reach that goal. I would love to see you there. Without further ado, let's do some rankings. On the bottom, wedding stories. You were good. I am waiting for you to be great. The Sims 4 My Wedding Stories could have had it all. It could have been the top of the pyramid. This game pack really did release with a lot of glitches. I do think that it's a lot better now. It's still pretty buggy, which is why I don't put it at the top of the pyramid, but I do still regularly use it in my gameplay, which is our #1 criteria. #2 for CAS, build and buy items, it really can't be beat. I love a lot of these hairstyles and all of the formal wear. A lot of the formal wear is really great and diverse. There's even formal wear for multiple age groups and different types of people that are going to be in a wedding. There's also really great build and buy items. I loved the build and buy items, and there's stuff I would use even outside of a wedding. And this game pack comes with a world that's pretty nice. I love building in it, going around it, and there's a bunch of different types of parties you can throw, so that part's really nice and customizable. Overall, I do still really like it, and I do still use it quite a lot, but it is a little buggy. I do want to recommend this with a grain of salt. At #5, werewolves. The Sims 4 Werewolf is a pretty good supernatural pack. I quite enjoy this pack. I really like the world of Moonwood Mill. It's got some fun lore. There's some fun things to do. There's some like random spooky characters. You can create your own werewolf in CAS. The build and buy items are fairly unique, but still are very cute and silly in the ways of the werewolves. In terms of gameplay, I really like the werewolf system in developing your werewolf, where it'll have different quirks and life events that happen to your werewolf, different temperaments and different abilities. There's also fated mates, which is interesting, being a lone wolf. There's just a lot of social interactions and gameplay that I think is pretty fun. In terms of create a sim and build and buy, there's a lot going for it, especially if you're interested in like kind of a more run down, well lived in, worn kind of look. I still use a lot of these items regularly, especially if you're trying to go for a world that's like a little bit run down or have its own story. It's really great in a rags to riches, which I love to play rags to riches. And their haircuts are really trendy and fun, as well as having a lot of great options for scarring. In terms of how often do I use the gameplay, not a ton. I think it would just depend on if I'm doing a supernatural themed gameplay or not. Werewolves are a little destructive when you see them just out and about in the world running around rampaging. So that's probably why it's only #5, but it's still a very solid one, especially if you're interested in trying something new. #4, Strangerville. You didn't stick out to me. The Sims 4 Strangerville is still fairly high on my list. I've done a ranking before and I still really like Strangerville. In terms of gameplay, it's unmatched. It's such a really weird story that you get to follow along. It's entirely unique in the fact that Strangerville gives you a start to finish story that you can move through in different ways using your sim as the star of the show. There is an investigation that you need to solve, this mystery of a desert town. In terms of gameplay, gameplay, it's really solid. The replayability is not a lot, which is why I still have it kind of lower down on this pyramid, but it is just unique. And if you haven't played it before, and if you're interested in picking something up, I think this would be a really fun way to jazz up your game and change up things for yourself. In terms of build mode items, I honestly love a lot of these build mode items. The colored pink laptop, so freaking cute. I use it all the time. The windows indoors in this pack and the fences are so cute. I love it. And then there's also some really cool grungy stuff, stains, chemical barrels, parts of a plane that you just don't really have in other games. It's both space age, sciencey, and like just awesome. In terms of the Create a Sim items, there's not a ton of things that I really love or find myself gravitating towards, except for this braided hairstyle. That one's pretty awesome. And a couple of these tops. And this jacket for men is pretty awesome too. Overall, I would say Strangerville is a lot of fun. How often do I use it in my everyday gameplay? Hardly at all, but the build mode items, almost every time. I'm not gonna lie. I always end up getting towards these build mode items because there's so many different colors and they're just so cute. They're so good. If you're a build mode girly, Strangerville's a really good one to pick up. I'm not gonna lie. Next, Dream Home Decorator. For me, Dream Home Decorator is number 3 purely for the build mode items. That's how strong these build mode items are. They are gorgeous. But also the gameplay of Dream Home Decorator is pretty fun, especially if you love building. It might get you more into the gameplay part where you get to go in, redecorate rooms based on different likes and dislikes of your clients and remodel their homes. You get to take little photos and show off a big reveal and watch the clients react. It's a pretty fun way to play the game. I'm not gonna lie. I quite liked it. There were some bugs when it first came out. I haven't played it in a minute, so I don't know if some of the bugs are better or worse, which is why it's not higher on the list. But overall, it's a pretty fun expansion. I really enjoyed playing it, and these build mode items are elite. They're so nice. Modular couches. Everything's so nice. They have a little bit of something for every room, and also the modular closets. Just the modular things of this pack are elite. They're so nice to build with. So again, if you're a build girly, this one's for you for sure. There's a lot of really cute boots, these couple cute dresses, there's stuff for kids. Not a ton, but still a solid amount of cute Create a Sim items. Overall, I wouldn't kick Dream Home Decorator out of bed. I'll just tell you that right now. Number 2, vampires. The Sims 4 vampires is elite. It just doesn't matter how many years it's been since this has been released. I have still come back for more, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I really like vampires, but I still think it is the best supernatural pack of The Sims. Creating vampires is so fun. I love, love, love having vampires. I think they're less obtrusive than other supernatural characters. They might show up every once in a while, but they mostly blend in. Besides Vlad trying to sneak into your home and drink your blood, you're not really dealing with too much. And it kind of adds a little flavor, I think, for Vlad to show up outside your door. I'm like, oh, get away. I love the superpowers that they can get, and like ranking up your vampire skills is fun. Forgotten Hollow is just a great neighborhood. I wish it had more community lots, but you can add some to them. The mood is just so pretty. And honestly, these build mode items are very great too, especially if you're really interested in a Victorian vibe. The Create a Sim items leave a little to be desired. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really like a lot of the Create a Sim items, but I do really like a lot of the face details and the teeth and things like that that really add a lot of character to building your vampire. So all of those are great. And also weirdly, the tights. I love these like crisscross and these skull tights. These ones are pretty awesome. In terms of how often do I use it in my gameplay, again, it would just depend on whether or not I'm doing a supernatural gameplay. But if I am doing supernatural gameplay, odds are I will be touching vampires first. I love vampires the most. I'm a vampire girly through and through. I am who I am. It is what it is, okay? I still think it's the best. There's just something about it. And so at the top of the pyramid, once again, is Parenthood. The Sims 4 Parenthood, I just think is the best game pack, especially if you're considering gameplay, Create a Sim, build and buy, and how often I use it. I tend to play a lot of gameplay that is family related. I think this impacts the gameplay overall a lot more than any other game pack does. You can develop your Sims parenting skill and shape your children's lives. It also works really well with growing together in packs like that. There's fun activities that it unlocks. I really really love the teenagers and the phases they go through. They can be so dramatic and moody, and I love that. I like that you can set curfews and break them. It just adds a lot more to the characters as a whole, especially family. The hairs are fine. The Create a Sim stuff is nothing to write home about, but a lot of staples that you might have for your Sims. I love the bear outfits are weird, but great. Build mode items, it's just very classic staple items. I use a lot of this stuff regularly, just a lot of really sweet details. And I think out of all of the packs, you can't go wrong with adding Parenthood to your lineup. That is the pyramid of the game packs, but let's get into what you've all been waiting for, the expansion packs. All 15 of them, baby, but pared down to my top 6, which has changed since last I ranked them. Both of them have actually, but this one, I'm excited to see how you guys feel about my change up. On the bottom of the pyramid, high school years. High school years really surprised me. I use this non-stop. I'm pretty sure I use high school years every time I have like a main character who's a teenager. I go to school every day. It's not perfect. There's some things that are left to be desired. There's not a ton of students in the school. You can't really choose which students show up at school, but there are mods for that are pretty great. Also, you get to go to prom, which is so cute. I wish there was more to prom, but it's still cute to go. You get to prank lockers, join school activities. Build and buy and create a sim items are so good. I use them almost all the time. The expansion packs were hard to rank. I am gushing over high school years right now, and it's still number 6 because there's a lot of other great ones. Honestly, part of me thinks that I should have ranked high school years better because I just really love it. The style of these items are so cute. It's really focused on the teen specifically, and I don't think the teens like got a lot of love, and there's just so much fun to be had in the items that they chose to include in this pack. Create a sim items, I love the hairs, I love the outfits. They have some extra little dresses for prom. I think these are all really solid options for the male and female sims. I use these outfits all the time. Like all of these pieces I use mixing and matching. They also have this really fun mechanic where you can go and like make money by thrifting, and oh my gosh, is that game breaking. I don't know if they fixed it, but you used to be able to make millions of simoleons just selling one item. It was awesome. All the community lots are so much fun to go to. I find myself going back to that coffee shop and the pier over and over and over again, especially with my teen sims. And the neighborhoods are just really cute. I don't know. I absolutely love this expansion. I can't say enough good things about it. There's some glitches, and I would wish that there was like more time to spend in certain of these events and more things to do at school. But whenever I play teenager, it changes the whole game for me. I feel like it adds so much personality. That's why it's ranked 6. Next, cats and dogs. Cats and dogs I used to rank a little higher, but to be honest, in terms of our 3 requirements, gameplay, CAS, build and buy, and how often I use it, I just don't know if the CAS build and buy is that strong in this section. So that's mostly why it's not as high as it is. I also don't think the gameplay is nearly as high as I want it to be. I have pets almost all of my gameplays, so I do use it a lot, but I don't tend to use the rest of the gameplay. I just use the type of sim, if that makes sense. So I use the pet, but I don't actually engage in a lot of these activities to do. I don't really like to take them to the veterinarian. A lot of it feels bugged, and it takes me forever to go. I don't necessarily spend a lot of time training animals, although I do really like that once you tell it to them enough times, they'll pick it up, and then you won't have to worry about your cats eating all of your food all the time. I've never really been that interested in becoming a vet and running a clinic. I don't even think I've played that part. But now that I say that, now I kind of want to do a Let's Play where I try that out. In terms of the build mode items, it reminds me a bit of Parenthood, where it just feels like a lot of classic items. The world is pretty cute, I'll give it that, but I tend not to want to go back to it again and again. But there are dog parks and things like that, which are pretty fun to bring your pets to. If you're planning to play more pet-centrically, I think this is obviously a must-have. And if you like having pets, I use it all the time. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm not jazzing this one up as much as high school years, so maybe I should have flopped them. Do I need all of these create a sim items? Not really. Create a sim items, not feeling it as much. But in terms of like actually like making the cats and dogs, it's so much fun creating your own pets in the game, having them around. It's so sad when they die. It just adds so much to the life of your sims. And honestly, I'm a dog lover myself and a pet lover, so I kind of get it. There's a lot to be said about this pack. If you don't already have it, I feel like if you love pets, you need it. So that's why I've ranked it number 5. Next, growing together. I love growing together. I think if you don't already have it, it should definitely be top of your list of one of them to get. Has a lot to do with family bonds, but also with life stages. It adds so much to the game. In terms of gameplay, it knocks it out of the park. The neighborhood that it's set in is just so cute to me. I really like the community center and the library are cute, and just the neighborhood in general has like all these splash pads, like community areas where the kids can go outside and play. You can have baby showers with this. You can have tree houses. Your Sims can develop like relationships with each other, which will inform like how they interact with each other. It adds a lot to infants as well. I'm having all these milestones and I play it all the time. So in terms of how often do I use the gameplay, literally every time I'm playing this game. Build mode items and create a sim items are wonderful. I love a lot of these items. They're very modern, but very reusable in different spaces. I use a lot of these items over and over and over again. In terms of create a sim, like Kaz items, they're okay. There's some really good stuff in here. I love this little sweater here. The stuff for the kids are really cute, adds a lot for kids and especially a lot for infants. I also really love the addition of certain facial moles and birthmarks. I love having the birthmarks included. I really recommend Growing Together. I think it's a fantastic pick. Again, I feel like I should have put it higher on my pyramid, but I said what I said, so it's gonna stay where it is for now because there's a lot of really good contenders. Third on the pyramid, City Living. City Living, absolutely fantastic. I feel like City Living got this high on the pyramid mainly because of the world it is. City Living introduced apartments that you can stay in this really cute metropolitan area. San Myshuno's so much fun to hang out in. There's karaoke bars, cultural festivals and events like the Romance Festival that I love going to again and again every sim year with all my different sims. One of my sims died at one of these festivals from laughing too hard. It adds so much to my game. So in terms of gameplay, City Living is just awesome. The world's great. In terms of building items, they're okay. There's several things that I use a lot, especially these posters on the walls. The gamer posters are always really fun, and some of these other pieces of decor. It's not my favorite, but there's a lot of things in here that I use again and again. I wouldn't say it's the be all end all of build a mode items. In terms of creative items, there's a lot of diversity in this pack, which I really love. A lot of colorfulness. I tend not to lean towards the colorfulness in my real life, but in my Sims world, my Sims definitely wear a lot of colors, so that one's an asset for me. It's not my favorite stuff, but it's quite a lot of good things. It also randomly adds some costumes because there's a Comic-Con kind of event, which is also very cute. In terms of how often do I use this in my everyday gameplay, all the time. Even when I'm not living in this world, I tend to visit it pretty frequently because of how fun these festivals are. And I also love that like friends of yours will call and invite you to go to the festivals with them. I don't mind that I can't build my own apartments. I like just being able to decorate them and like change the walls. And now that they let you change the windows, I don't really feel like I need to make my whole own apartment building. If you want a rental, but you don't actually want to play with for rent, this is also another good option. Next, Cottage Living. Cottage Living is always my number 2. I love Cottage Living. I have nothing bad to say about it. Cottage Living is where you get to go to the English countryside and the world is absolutely beautiful. The gameplay is so cute. Having a little cottage and raising all the animals. You can get like delivery. You can go into town and bring your animals or your eggs or pies or whatever and put them in competitions and try to win. The characters in this world are really fun. I like the lore of it. You can grow giant pumpkins and kind of live off of all these things on your farm. Very homesteader vibes. For build mode items, they're perfect. They exactly embrace this gorgeous little village English countryside lifestyle, and I still end up using them pretty frequently. I love cottage core. What am I gonna say? There's just no misses for me here. In terms of creative items, again, I think they really nailed the cottage core vibes. They did a really good job of including stuff that's very, very granny chic, but also very like trendy cottage core. This kind of granny sweater that has the embroidery on it. It's just, everything's just so well done. Lots of details, very cohesive. They got some good beards for men, which is good if you're loving a beard on a man. Good hats, good sweaters, like exactly what you'd want in the countryside. They also have some really fun hairstyles for younger kids, which I like. like. Overall, absolutely love this pack. Can't recommend it enough. It's always gonna be my number 2. I don't know what could possibly unseat it. Sims 4 Cottage Living, if you don't have it already, if you haven't played it yet, oh my gosh. I want everyone to try it, but maybe it might not be for you, and that's okay. At the top of the pyramid, every single time I've made a pyramid, seasons. I'm sure you guessed it, it's seasons. I personally feel like seasons should just be like base game. I think it's just so necessary. I forget that it's a pack, honestly. In my brain, everything should be shifted up and seasons should just be non-existent. I think seasons are necessary. It just adds so much to your gameplay. It doesn't make every day feel the same. There's weather, there's a changing of the seasons. There's seasonal holidays, which I love a good holiday. You can celebrate that with all of your characters. You can have seasonal activities. In terms of gameplay, I think it just adds to every gameplay. But I don't find myself actively playing seasons things with my characters. They're just like being impacted by the seasons and the weather. In terms of build mode items, there's some really solid picks in here. There's things that this bed, this bathtub, the curtains, there's just a lot of solid things and a lot of seasonal items that you're gonna use to decorate for the seasons, which I use every time I play with a holiday. These ice rinks and skating rinks I totally forget about, but they are kind of fun to use, I'm not gonna lie. In terms of Create-A-Sim items, they're fine. There's a lot of seasonal stuff. There's stuff that's like coats and winter jackets and rain slickers that I just think makes sense for the pack. Am I using them absolutely every time? Not necessarily, but I'm not using some of these items. I feel like I just forget about them because they're just a little plain. There's not one cohesive style to them, so I don't tend to be like, oh, my sim is such a blank. It doesn't feel like it's trendy or it's cottage core or whatever the style is, which is what I tend to like to go for. These are just a lot of staples that have to do with weather, which is very cute, and I end up using them. You cannot go wrong with getting seasons. I do want to make a special note, runners up or honorable mention stuff packs that I would recommend. Number 2, Paranormal. Paranormal, I think, has a lot going for it. It feels like a lot more than just a stuff pack. There's ghosts, you can make your house a haunted house, you can get Bone Hilda, you can talk to the dead. There's just a lot of fun gameplay with this. There's a lot of fun Create-A-Sim items, and there's a lot of fun build mode items. So I think this is a really solid choice if you're looking for a stuff pack. But my number 1 stuff pack is Tiny Living. This stuff pack eats. I love Tiny Living. I love all the build mode items. If you want to make a tiny house, it's awesome. It's especially great for any challenge you're doing because living in a tiny home boosts your skill building to make it go faster. And building tiny homes is so satisfying. You could do it without the pack, but it's easier to do it with the pack because it shows you how many tiles when you're making a tiny home. And also there's just so many really great items. Ugh, I love this pack. Those are my 2 favorite stuff packs, just as a little bonus for you honorable mentions. What did you think of my ranking? Do you agree? Would you change things around? Fight with me in the comments or agree with me and praise my excellent taste because I know I have it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.